Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned in to the Sajdah channel, and this is the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and we're going to continue our conversation from yesterday, where we were talking about what do you do if you are the person that people are seeking refuge in Allah from? What if you are the person that's the hater? How do you turn that around, and how do you recognize those traits in yourself? So be a friend, tell a friend. We're going to look at a few short commercials and we will be right back. We also have a beautiful prayer.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided thee right, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome to the Sajdah channel, where we talk about life, love, and business. Happy Saturday, everyone. We are going to continue our talk from yesterday. We got into envy and jealousy a little bit, and we talked about what it is. We defined it, which we'll redefine it again here today. And then we talked about what to do if you're the hater, right? Because all these posts out here, all these memes, all these things that people are talking about are from the perspective that you got somebody hating on you. But what if you're the hater? And how do you know if that kind of envious and jealous spirit is creeping up inside of you? I like it. It's like falling. I talked about that a few weeks ago. When you're falling, there's a point in time when you start falling where you don't really know you're falling. Sometimes you don't know you're falling until you hit the ground. Sometimes you recognize the concept that you're falling in the middle of your descent. And then in the middle of your descent, you try to do something, but you can't. It's the same thing with being envious, with being jealous, with being rebellious. You can't always see yourself. You can't always see yourself. And so instead of us over focusing on what's happening outside of us, because let's face it, a lot of people are dealing with the trauma and they think everybody's the ops. They think everybody's their opposition. They think everybody's a hater. They don't like nobody. They don't trust nobody. That's a trauma response that's been with us since slavery. Let's flip that around and say, you know what inside of me should I work on so I don't become like that? What do I need to work on? And we talked yesterday. We went through the definition of envy, definition of jealousy. Let's go through that right now. Okay. And these kinds of things, let me give you another analogy before we go into it. Like the analogy of falling, there's also like that analogy of lightness and darkness, right? Envy, jealousy, rebellion, these are things that put like a veil over the light that's trying to come into you. I heard somebody say this one time. I was taking a class and I thought this was so powerful, that we should be like a screen. You know how you need a screen, like a big screen when you go have a projector? Now you have a projector and a screen. You got the big screen that projects onto the movie is on the screen, right? I remember when we were growing up, my parents would set up movie night and we had this projector and the movies would be on the screen. Big screen, big as the wall, but the projector projected the images onto the screen. We should be like the screen where Allah is like the projector. And so we want him to project his light, his way, his images onto us. And then we want to be that screen, that reflection. And you hope that that movie is a good movie that people can watch, right? A motivating movie, one of redemption, one with love, one with power, that kind of thing, right? So let's do this. Let's talk about envy. I just wrote some things down here because envy and jealousy, oftentimes people talk about them interchangeably, but they're not the same. Okay. Um, Especially, we spend a lot of time as Muslims. We always talk about seek refuge in Allah against the envier when he envies, right? Which is exactly the truth. But what if that envier is you? And how do you seek refuge in Allah against your own self being the envier? I think we have to include that in our prayers. So we say that, but one of the things that I always say afterwards is protect me against those that are envious of me. Because if you're somebody like myself and Allah gives you big stuff to do, and you've been very blessed, I've had a very, very blessed life with so many opportunities and so many things that flow through me, so many struggles that I've overcame that produced so much beauty and so many blessings and so much abundance that sometimes it brings about a little bit of envy and jealousy and competitiveness and all of that. And so I seek refuge in Allah from that. But I also say to Allah, I seek refuge in you from me becoming what I'm seeking refuge from. And I'm very serious about that because my thing is I always want to project love, upliftment, support. Now, I ain't no punk. You can't play with me. My mom didn't raise no sissies, as she would always tell us. Excuse that language. I know that's offensive to people nowadays, but not that. You don't want to mess with me. But I love to project love. I love to project upliftment. I love to project support. How can I be there for somebody? How can I help? How can I be an asset? So in wanting to be that, and I'll tell you one prayer before I say this. One prayer that I made, I want to say this was probably around 2006, six-ish maybe. And I asked Allah, I said, make me your conduit. Allow me to be your conduit. And I'm going to tell you something. From that point, my life changed because I stopped praying for things and started praying to be a conduit. Give me more and more ways to express my love for you. Give me more and more ways to bear witness that you are real, that you are intervening in our affairs. Give me more and more ways to create, to align with you. Allow me to be your conduit. And my life changed. And so I started I was just starting my coaching and stuff at the time. And I started saying to clients, I know sometimes we need something so bad and we get off in our vibration. And we all have been there. I'm not telling y'all know I don't teach nothing that I ain't been through myself. Where maybe we start begging for the thing. Oh, Lord, I need money. Oh, Lord, I need a man. Or, Lord, I need somebody to talk to. But instead of putting so much energy towards what you don't have, which in essence is magnifying the fact that you don't have it, and put more attention, back it up some, go general, put more attention on the process or who you need to become. Who do I need to be to reflect you more so that what I'm looking for comes into my life? It's about becoming. That was the title of one of Michelle Obama's books, Becoming. So becoming who you are, becoming your authentic self. And that focus is only natural that certain resources come to that person, right? Who do I need to become? So it's like the history gets written and then you walk into it. How do I walk into that history that is written? What's the history that's written? It's my desire. It's my goal. It's what I'm working on. And any devilish attempts by people who feign closeness to you to try to get you off of your square, make you not be your authentic self, try to control and conform you, if you will, you have to be very mindful of, because it's your and my becoming, it's our becoming that's going to draw to us what Allah put inside of us that we call a desire. So he drops the thought into us. We own it. Our ego has sovereignty. Our ego says, this is my thought. This is my idea. This is my desire. This is my thing. Our ego says that. And so we don't realize that even the desire oftentimes doesn't even come from us. But then the question becomes, who do I need to become to walk into that pre-written history, the desire, the want, the goal? When you write it out, you put it on your vision board, you put it in your phone, whatever you do with your goals. Maybe you store them in the back of your head somewhere, but where are those goals and who do I need to be? And I approached this, I started using this in my approach at work, as a business consultant, all of that. And my life changed. It just changed because I became willing to be pliable in order for Allah to use me. How do you want to use me in this situation? What do you want me to learn and see in this situation? How can I add value in this situation? Who can I serve in this situation? Here's the other trick. When those things start coming to you as a result of your becoming, you have to be open and be in your feminine in order to receive as well. And this goes for men and women. Men have a feminine side as well. It's that receiving side. So not taking, but receiving. So if somebody walks up and say, hey, I have an opportunity for you, you should hear it and see and consider. If somebody says, hey, I want to give to you, I want to donate, I want to support, be open to receiving. They may just want to give you a compliment. Be open to receiving. So don't be so quick to bulldoze your way into a situation with your intellect, with who you are, in the name of, they're going to have to just accept who I am. I don't give a damn. Become who you need to be. Be very sovereign and authentic about who you are, and be open to becoming who you need to be in order to have what you want. There are people that I meet with, and I'm sorry, we're going to get back to envy and jealousy, but this is the download that's coming to me. There are people that I meet with who say, well, I want to make this $1 million business. I want this to be a multi-million-dollar business. But they don't have multi-million-dollar habits, and they don't have a multi-million-dollar structure. They're not in a multi-million-dollar position. There are people who say, well, I want this. I want more out of business. I want to be more authentic, but they don't stand on business. They're not open. If I'm working with somebody and you're not open to hear what I'm comfortable with and what I want to get out of it, then you're not the person I should be working with. Because if what I say and what I desire doesn't matter, then we're not a match. And so you have to also know how to stand on business. How do you present? Do you look like somebody? I used to say this all the time when I would go to a meeting. Do I look like somebody that can be entrusted with $1 million worth of business? So when I walk into a client's office, do they look like they can trust me? Is my language proper? Some people talk and they can talk and talk and talk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you still don't know what they're talking about. And if what comes out of their mouth is that discombobulated and confusing, that says that what's in here is also discombobulated and confusing. I think it's Tony Robbins who said that the quality of your relationships is dictated by the quality of your communication. So if you can't speak, you can't articulate what it is that you want, you can't expect to have that business relationship or that business client that you think you may want. How do you get there? You have to become. It's about becoming, right? And here's one last thing. Before we get back into envy and jealousy, and this will be a great segue to lead us there. Here's what oftentimes happens in business, on projects, when you are dealing with people who are secretly envious and jealous from you. They work very hard to try to separate you from the thing that they want to take from you. I'm going to say that again. When you're dealing with somebody who is secretly envious and jealous, this happens oftentimes in business, but it can happen in interpersonal relationships where you have, somebody that might want your man or somebody that might want your woman, your wife. They will work very hard using deceptive intelligence to separate you from the thing that they want to take away from you. See, what Allah does to tether you to what he has given you, he will overshadow who you are. He will overshadow the thing with who you are because he's tethering you to it. He's tethering you to the project because it is you that he used as a conduit to come through to manifest the project in the first place. So if you go to a meeting, if you go somewhere and they say, well, if you will give you some money or we'll be your friend or whatever negotiating tool they use, if the goal is to separate you from the very thing that they know they want, you better go in the other direction. And so when I'm listening to people, I'm listening very carefully. Because when they start saying things like, yeah, but let's separate you. See, Allah tethers you to things for a reason. We'll get into that a little bit later, but let's go into envy and jealousy. Envy is the feeling of wanting what someone else has. So oftentimes that's a tactic that people that want what you had, they will work very hard to negotiate you out of your position, to unravel you, to separate you. It happens in interpersonal relationships. Let me just say this. My mom's on the feed. I have a very cool mom. Okay. She's always been fly. She's always been the flyest of the flyest. She's always been beautiful. And so a lot of people want my mama. And so they will come around me and try to separate me from my mother. And they will go real hard on that's my auntie, or that's my sister, or and they go real hard on it. And then they start to talk in like third person as if I don't know her. And this happens in relationships. You may have a husband that's a pastor or a minister or an executive or somebody in a leadership role, and people are basically trying to slide you out of the way to have a relationship with him. And they are doing everything they can to separate you too, because they think that that's going to help them get what you have. But what Allah does, Allah is so powerful. I get this all the time with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. People try to separate me from the house. But Allah tethers you together with what he brought through you. He tethers you in some kind of way. And so don't allow people to come and unravel that stitching and unravel that tethering together just because your self-esteem is low or just because you want to be their friend. You know, deep down inside, they might be envious and jealous. This is a tactic that is used to separate the tethering between you and what they want. It's the old divide and conquer. But sometimes we don't see it when it's a thing. When we may see it when it's a relationship, but we may not see it when it's a project or an accolade, right? Very powerful stuff. Okay. Envy is the feeling of wanting what someone else has. Okay. So if you find yourself seeing someone and they got something and you like, I want that, you better make sure that you're not going the extra step to try to take from them or separate them from what it is that they have that you want. Use that. And we talked about transferring that into admiration or inspiration, and then ultimately activation. All right. Jealousy is the feeling of being threatened by someone else's perceived relationship with something you value. Okay. I don't want to go deep into this. We went into this a lot yesterday. Like envy is like if you're feeling envious because somebody got a new car, you want the car, or their athletic ability, right? Or some gift or skill that they have. Usually it's something that is inherent in the person that they can't do nothing about, and neither can you. I know for me, there are certain things about myself. Excuse me, my allergies been acting crazy lately. I know there are things about myself that are very specific to me, very authentic to me, that Allah deposited in me that I was doing when I was a little girl. I was that way. I was this way when I was a little girl. And it can be something that people will come around and then try to, or then end up being envious of. And I always say to Allah, please don't let me be envious of something that you deposited in somebody, especially the way you deposit things in me that I can't do anything about. There's nothing they can do about what has been deposited in me. There's nothing I can do about what Allah has deposited in them. I don't want to de facto be mad at you for depositing something in them and not in me. So this is why you can be inspired. And that inspiration can activate you and put you into the process of your own becoming, right? It's like if you gain weight, you might be like, I'm feeling a little overweight, but you don't really feel as overweight as you may really be until you get around somebody who ain't overweight. And so instead of being envious of their body, be inspired and activate your own becoming in shape, your own becoming of getting your body together or getting your dress together or whatever you got to do. Activate your own becoming. Who do I need to become to be healthy, wealthy, strong, and wise? What do I know I need to work on? Because a lot of times it's the stuff we hide. Most of us are hiding things and tucking things away in our mind that we know we should be working on, but we don't work on it. But yet we're still mad because we don't have what we want. And it's just that one little tweak. If we just tweaked it, we could get it. And then jealousy is focused on the relationship and the potential loss that relationship or position. So, for example, feeling jealous when your romantic partner interacts with someone you perceive as a threat, or feeling jealous of a colleague's promotion at work. All right. Both of them can be negative emotions and have low vibrational tones. Both of them can be, and if you don't turn that into inspiration, that awareness. So when you become aware of something that you're envious of, when you become aware of something that you're jealous of, you may not have a label or a definition. You have to immediately find a way to go into inspiration, go into activation, and then go into becoming. Not necessarily becoming exactly like that person, but becoming who you need to be to draw into yourself what it is that you actually truly really want. When you start using that process, you really don't have time to worry about what nobody else is doing. There's a whole vibration that you got to be about in order to become, and I'm going to keep saying this, become what it is that you want. Feel free to put any questions in the chat. I see you, Brother Lamont, Sister Betty. Hey, Mom. Wa alaikum salam, everyone. I hope you're getting this. Who do I need to become? See, because life is all about evolution. It's like water, right? Water, it finds its own level. It finds its own way. It's constantly moving and transforming. But life is all about evolution and elevation. And until we're open to change, if we dig our heels in, and here's a trick. If you go somewhere and you immediately feel uncomfortable, okay, your senses are saying something to you. I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel right. Don't always go into, let me get up out of here. I ain't uncomfortable. I ain't comfortable. There's certain checks that you want to go into. Is it safe? Am I uncomfortable because I look different? Am I uncomfortable because this uncomfortable feeling is calling me to change? We have to be complex enough and aware enough to be able to understand the multifactorial manner in which Allah functions. It's not just black and white. It's not just one thing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things can be true at once. You could go somewhere and something and be very uncomfortable, but a blessing come out of it. Sometimes you're uncomfortable because the old you is dying. And what would make you comfortable is just to race up out of there and get back to your old self. And your old self may have been that self that's not serving you. But understand that it's multifactorial. It's the same way in medicine, right? Generally, when something begins to happen or break down, it is a multifactorial process. They tend to label down, they tend to pare it down to a label for that one thing. But in general, it's multifactorial. We talked about gaining weight. You may gain weight. The weight may cause some joint issues. The weight may cause you to have some swelling in your legs. The weight may cause you to have varicose veins because the blood can't travel that fast because you got a lot of weight in your midsection. The weight may cause diabetes. The weight may cause high blood pressure. So it can be multifactorial. And then you may say, well, but I gained this weight because I've been stressed. Okay, that's one factor. You may say, I gained this weight because I'm perimenopausal. That's another factor. You may say, I gained this weight because I've been traveling and I can't find good food or the healthy food I like. It's multifactorial. Multifactorial. You may say, I gained this weight because I'm happy. I just got in a relationship. I'm just married and we be going out to eat. That's another factor. So everything is multifactorial. So when you open up Open up your antenna. Look at it like, look at your antenna that's above your head like a peacock opening its feathers. That's why I love peacocks, because you're opening it up and there's all these micro antennae that's giving you data and giving you downloads that's helping you with your becoming process. It's not just one antenna and just one thing. It's a number of different things. And so these complexities that Allah has to deal with, that he puts us to have to deal with, are things that we have to open up to. We have to stop being so single dimensional. This is a multi-dimensional universe with a lot of parallel realities happening at one time. And what makes it even more complicated is that everybody sees the world in their own way, which gives you all these different versions of the world, all these different experiences of the earth. So you may sit with me and I may see things this way. I may be interpreting my experience in a particular way. Somebody else might be interpreting their experience in a different way. There's all these different perspectives. And so you have a foundation, but you have communication strategies for each of those ways in which Allah is flowing and working with you. But I think our takeaway from today, to wrap up our series on envy and jealousy, yesterday we talked about tools on how to create that process, right, of awareness, inspiration, activation, becoming. We talked about using gratitude. Go back and listen to yesterday. We talked about all these different tools that we can use to navigate that process into becoming, right? And making sure that when we're praying and seeking refuge in Allah against the envier when he envies, that we include ourselves in the consciousness of that prayer. Because we tend to stand over here on the sideline and go, I seek refuge against them enviers when they envy. Ooh. What about you? What about when you're envious? What about when you're trying to separate somebody from something that they're tethered to? What about when you're trying to take what somebody has? What if when you really deep down inside don't like somebody because they got something that you want? And you'd rather kill them. You'd rather bring harm on them. You'd rather cut them off from their sustenance than deal with your own issues. What about you? What about me? What about us? So let's seek refuge in Allah against ourselves when we envy other folks. That envier is not necessarily somebody else outside of yourself. Don't become that person. Don't become that person. Work to add value. Think about it this way. If you are sitting up praying that Allah protects you and guides you against other people, right, when they come after you, do you think that your prayers are the only prayers that are going to be answered? Do you think that you may not experience more darkness if you are sitting up envying somebody, especially if they're making that same prayer? Think about that. So don't be that person. Don't be that person. People got enough stuff to deal with. It's enough stuff happening in the world. You don't want to contribute to what people got to go through in their becoming process, because the becoming process in many cases is hard. You got people around here addicted to pain pills. They had a surgery years ago and they still addicted to pain pills. And so their process of becoming so that they can get up out of that might be a hard one. They don't need you adding no extra on them. And if they're praying to seek refuge in Allah against the envier, then they against the envier when he or she envies, that's you. And so now you're looking at what you're working on not coming to fruition. Now you're looking at your vibration not being as high as it should be. Seek refuge in the envier, seek refuge in Allah against the envier when he envies. And that envier may be you. Don't be that person. Think 5 times before you speak on somebody. That's our instructions from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Think 5 times before you speak. Think 5 times before you open your mouth. And I even go further and I think 5 times before I even think. Anybody who knows me, you bring something to me, I'm analyzing it in my brain, going over it 4 or 5 different ways before I speak on it. Sometimes you may realize you don't have all the information. Sometimes you may realize that you didn't understand the circumstances. Sometimes you may realize that you just might need to deploy some empathy towards that person. Sometimes you might realize that that's a full-blown hater and you don't really need to have nothing to do with them. Sometimes you may realize things when you're thinking those 5 times before you make that move. All right, family. Okay, so we got the National Training Conference and I have to get going. Today is day 2. Yesterday was a fabulous day. Lots of energy, lots of learning. I was in the youth division. I did a presentation in the morning. I was on a panel in the morning and then stayed around for some of the other great and beautiful workshops and things like that that happened throughout the day. Of course, we had the tours that started on Thursday. And so then today, there's more workshops. Our beloved, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is planning to attend. So we're excited about that. And then there's a banquet tonight. And then tomorrow we have some more tours. So I have to get going because I got to put together a few things. If I wear this during the day, I don't think I can wear this to the banquet. So I got to get myself together. But I pray each and every one of you got something out of this. Next week, we'll be broadcasting from another location, and I'll tell you about that at that time. Yeah, so it's exciting. But I wish each and every one of you more goodness, more love, more peace than you've ever experienced or imagined. I hope that you get a little something out of what I share here with you on the channel. And in my opinion, I think it's good information. So support the network. Just Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. Donate something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just whatever is comfortable with you. So your comfort level, you may be vibrating at a space where $1,000 is nothing to you. Then give that. It just depends on where you're vibrating. And we're working on getting everybody to the point where they vibrate in a manner in which 10,000's nothing, 1,000's nothing. But you may be, and it's okay, you may be at a space where my vibrational match is $10. My vibrational match is $100. My vibrational match right now is $25. And we'll get you there. We'll get you there where your vibrational match is a lot higher. All right. So thank you, Sister Betty. Appreciate that. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you always, Auntie says. And thank you, Mom, for being on. Who else we got? Brother Lamont. Thank you. Thank you. I see y'all all up there not participating in the chat today, but that is quite all right. Okay. Thank you, family. We will see you, inshallah, next week. Y'all know, as always, I got all kind of announcements, all kind of things that I'm working on. Pray for me so I got all these little babies I'm trying to have so I can get them out. Okay. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all very much. And inshallah, we will see you all soon. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I remember when the first National Training Conference was held 30 years ago. Congratulations. And I'm even more excited this year to open the Elijah Muhammad House, also known as Sajdah House, up for some special tours just for you, National Training Conference attendees. We're going to be having special tours on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., and also on Sunday at 4 p.m. So just go to ElijahMuhammadHouse.com and register to attend. And remember, space is very limited, so we got to get there and get registered. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see you. Welcome to Chicago.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible